Hey guys, it's Kyla Live and we are at 32 weeks. Okay, so before I get started, special shout out to all the ladies who have been sending me so much love and messages. I truly heart you guys. And I just wanted to read one message because I thought it was so inspiring. Chantel Smith, congrats. Thanks. I have endometriosis and I went to the doctor because I thought I had another cyst. Turned out I was already 3 months pregnant, now 5. It's scary because I knew the challenges that I was facing, but giving it all to God. Thanks for such a positive video. Stay encouraged. You're almost there. Thanks, boo. Like, I truly like was screaming when I saw that message. I was like, ah. Like, it feels so good to just say that, I went in thinking I had a problem and turns out I had a blessing. So that just goes to show that if you have endo, it's possible. Like, this is not a death sentence. This is not the end of the world, and you can actually live beyond it. 32 weeks have flown by, and I must say, I kind of just want to keep him in there, even though he has grown to capacity and is kicking my ribs every single opportunity that he gets. I don't know about this like going out process, but we'll get there. So just to update you guys, my last video I was sharing that I was considering changing my doctors, which I did. Definitely did that. And for those out there who have had difficulties with your doctors, I will say this: it is not a marriage. You are not committed. If you feel like your relationship is not where it needs to be, you definitely might want to consider changing it up. So for me, the main reason why I wanted to change my doctor was, one, I didn't have that attention that I felt like I needed throughout my pregnancy and throughout my conversations with her. I felt really rushed. I felt like she didn't have time. But the cherry on top for me was our last appointment was when I actually had to take my glucose exam. My appointment was scheduled for around like 3 o'clock that afternoon, and after just Googling and doing research, I realized, like, hey, might not want to wait all day to take a glucose exam, just because things that you eat can affect that. So I called early that morning. I said, would it be possible for me to come in early to take the glucose exam and just keep my appointment for 3 o'clock this afternoon, because it's on my husband's calendar? And the receptionist was like, yeah, that's great, that's perfect. If you could just come in early in the morning, get your glucose done, because usually we schedule those glucose tests early in the morning. I don't know what happened and why yours was scheduled for 3 o'clock. So I said, perfect, that's fine. So I get into the office and everybody's like rushing around like crazy. And she's like, oh, well, you're gonna take a glucose test now and then the doctor's gonna see you right after. And I'm like, no, that actually wasn't the conversation we had. We had the conversation that we were gonna keep my appointment at 3 o'clock. And she was like, okay, but the doctor has like her surgery got pushed back, so she can see you now. And I hate the fact that I just don't feel heard because if that was the conversation, I could have just rescheduled it for another day. But fine. So then she's like rushing towards me with like the glucose bottle. She's like, okay, hurry up, take this. And then I hear the doctor yelling in the background, and she's like, no, she doesn't need to take that right now. I'm gonna see her first, and then she's gonna take her glucose exam. She's not gonna take her glucose exam in the office. She's gonna go down to LabCorp 3rd level and take it down there, because she's gonna be leaving in a few minutes. And I'm like, okay. So she rushes me into the room. She's like, okay, well, the doctor's gonna see you now. So I get in the room, doctor comes in, and she's just like, all right, so let me measure you. How are you feeling? Do you have any questions? And I literally like had a notebook full of questions, because at this point it's like, I want to consider my birthing plan, and I want to consider my options, and I really want to have a conversation about like what her process is, to how fast she gets to a C-section, or the necessary steps of needing a C-section, or things of that nature, or how she feels about natural birth versus, you know, pushing an epidural. Like, I just wanted to have those type of conversations with her. And just kind of telling her some of the symptoms I was having, because at this point, well, at that point, I was starting to get a lot of pinching sensations down below, which, you know, was a concern, because when you read about it online, some people say that it's normal, other people say that it's a sign of early labor. So it's like, is it or is it not? And everything that I was saying just kind of got like a 3-word answer or response, or you know, it was like one of those. And I just was like feeling so uncared for, and just left feeling like, what's going on? So needless to say, that conversation, she measured me, she checked the baby's heart rate. Oh, he's healthy, he's looking good, okay. And then the other thing that got me was, throughout my pregnancy, I haven't at this point, I hadn't been gaining weight. I actually lost weight. Nothing drastic, nothing like 10 pounds or anything like that, but seriously, like every time I would go into the doctor's office, I would lose like a pound or a pound and a half or something like that. So she's like looking over my record. She's like, oh, you lost a pound. You're in the negative. And I was just like, what does that mean though? Like, how are you going to leave me like that? You can't leave me like that. You can't. So things like that had me really concerned. And I went down, took my glucose test. And the great thing was, the girls down at the LabCorp at that location, they knew me, and she's like, oh, I'm just so excited to see you. And I just felt so warm, like she knew my story because we had talked about it. And I was just like, oh, you just made me feel so much better than my doctor. How about that? And it's just like a lot going on, and needless to say, I just like was like so overwhelmed with emotion, because here I am, I wanted my husband to be there at my doctor's appointment. I didn't, like, I was preparing myself to come in and do things one way, and now we're doing things another way. And it just kind of threw me off. So fast forward, I get my glucose results, and now everybody has an app. So my results come directly to my phone, like I guess the day that they post them. And I guess the same day that my doctor's office gets them. So I get my glucose exam results, and I'm like looking at the levels, and I'm like, let me look it up. Like, let me see what this means. So I look it up, and it basically means that I failed my glucose exam. And I'm like, what? Like, okay, so I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, well, I'll get a call from my doctor's office today, because clearly they got it the same day that I got it. And I received no call. No call. And the next day comes around, and I'm like, okay, no call. So around, I would say noon that next day, I called and said, hey, it's Kyla. Just saw my results, saw that I failed my glucose exam. Just really interested to know what exactly my next steps are. And they're like, huh, okay, I'll leave a note for the doctor. Okay, fine, leave a note for the doctor. Sure, girl. Don't hear back that day. I hear nothing back the next day. So same thing, around noon, 1 o'clock, I call back, hey, it's Kyla, following up. Just wanted to know, like, what are my next steps? And she's like, huh, okay. Well, doesn't look like the doctor has put anything in your chart yet, but you're probably gonna need to take a 3-hour glucose exam. And I'm like, okay, so what exactly does that entail? What do I need to do to prep? Like, what's up? And she's just like, well, I mean, you know, it's a 3-hour test. You're gonna have to go down to the LabCorp and get your blood work done. You're definitely gonna need to fast. And I'm like, okay, all right. So am I going to hear back from the doctor today? Well, I'll double check and get back with you. Fine. Okay. So 4 o'clock hits and I was like, I call back. Hey, it's Kyla. Just wanted to check on that glucose exam and what exactly I need to do. She's like, oh, okay, let me check your chart. Just check your chart. The doctor left you a note in here. And I'm like, oh, like, when were you going to share that note? Like, you're about to close. Like, when were you going to share that note? And she's like, oh, but she just left it in here like 20 minutes ago. Oh, not that I've been concerned. Not that I've been worried. No worries. It's cool. So she's just like, yeah, she said you're going to have to take the 3-hour glucose. Okay. Okay. Like, are you going to schedule it? Do I need to schedule it? Yeah, so you're going to have to call LabCorp and you're going to have to schedule it and then go down there and take it. I mean, you don't have to come here. You can go to one that's closer to your home if you want. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I call LabCorp, and by this time I'm just like really emotional and distressed about it all together, because it's just like, why do I have to keep following up with you when you have seen these results? Like, it goes off on your computer same way it goes off on my app, and it was no concern or urgency or any of the above. And literally I call LabCorp, hey, I need to schedule my 3-hour glucose. And I just asked a simple question, and this is, I guess it's the pregnancy emotions. It's like, so what exactly do I need to do to prepare? And she's like, oh, your doctor didn't tell you that? Just literally, like, tears just started coming down my eyes. Mind you, I'm a teacher, so this is like the last week of school, and I'm trying to like get my life together with this, and then I'm like constantly trying to call on this doctor, and there's a lot of things in play in the background, and I just was like, thank you. And I hung up the phone. Like, I couldn't even schedule. Like, I just couldn't at that moment. I was just like, this is too much. Like, I'm at work, I'm trying to like make this a priority, I'm trying to do what I have to do, but I just couldn't do it that day. So the next day I call back, schedule my appointment for that week, and decided that I was going to go ahead and start looking for another doctor. So that Monday I had my 3-hour glucose exam. That Tuesday I had a doctor's appointment with another doctor. I had another doctor's appointment Wednesday and Thursday. So I had 3 different doctors that I was meeting with that next week to figure out who was going to be the best fit for me. Was not playing. I felt like it was just a week of just a lot. Like, it was chaotic. Trying to close out the school year, leaving out the building every single day to get these things done. The great thing is that, you know, my husband and my mom were really there to support me with like moving things out of my room and, you know, just being there with me during my appointments and all that great stuff. So we got through it. I felt like it was hell week, but we got through it. Awkward thing was making that call after figuring out which doctor I wanted to go with, making that call to my old doctor, like, hey, it's Kyla. I'm gonna need you to send over all my records. That'd be great. She's like, okay. Like, if you could just mail them to me, that'd be awesome. Okay, I'll do that. I mean, oh, and also if you could cancel all of my appointments, I've decided to go with another doctor. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for letting us know. I'll make sure I send this over to you as soon as possible. Great. So she asked for a form. I sent her the form back. And that was that. Right? I was like, okay, no biggie. And then the next day I get a call like, hey, just want to call, and our office manager just wanted to know, you know, reasonings for why you were leaving the practice. And I straight up told her, I was just like, I don't feel cared for. I feel like I'm rushed in my appointments. I have nothing against the doctor. I feel like the doctor is great. That's the reason why I went to her in the first place. However, I just, at this point in my pregnancy, need somebody who's a little bit more concerned and dedicated and not overwhelmed with everything else that they have going on, which I understand is balance, but right now this is just not working out for me. And she said that. She's like, okay, completely understand. Your records should be coming to you soon. Now, fast forward 2 weeks later, I don't get my records. Mind you, the doctor's office is like maybe 10 miles down the road. So if she put something in the mail, I would get it at least the next day. And 2 weeks, don't get it. Call back, hey, just checking to see if it was sent. Yeah, it was sent. Okay. Yes. So if you could just have a copy ready for me, I'm gonna come by the office and get it. And it just kind of like confirms why I made the decision. In the midst of all of that, a week and a half after my glucose exam, mind you, the 3-hour glucose exam, my results came to my phone 3 days later. A week and a half later, the nurse from my old doctor's office calls me. Hey, just calling to let you know we got your results back from your 3-hour. Everything is good. Like, and all I could say was just like, thanks. Thank you. I don't understand. But okay, sure. Thank you. So things like that really just confirmed that it was definitely time for me to move on, because there are certain things that can happen that we don't necessarily read as a big concern, but could be huge and could be an emergency. So needless to say, like, I just did not want to be at a doctor's office where I felt like my concerns just weren't being met, because at this point it was just like, why do I even share anything with you? Why do I tell you things that may be going wrong if you're not taking this seriously? So best move ever. In baby news, he's doing amazing. We just had our 32-week checkup, and it just feels good every single time I hear his heartbeat, or every time he's like moving really crazy. He's not slowing down. He's not slowing down. So a lot of apps are saying